Am I the asshole for refusing to host Thanksgiving for 20-plus people for the 4th year in a row? So my fiancé has a rather large family. Parents, 2 brothers with significant others, numerous adult nieces and nephews and their partners, and there's usually always some distant aunt, uncle or cousin that tags along. I have 2 family members that join holidays. This year neither will be able to attend. Last year one was present. So for the past 4 years I've been single-handedly cooking from scratch and hosting for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. So essentially I've been cooking dinner for 20 people or so while my partner babysits a brisket in the smoker. There's a lot of logistics behind cooking for a large crowd. I start prepping the night before, cook all morning and afternoon, and by the time everything is done I'm too exhausted to enjoy the food I cooked and eat. Last year I requested that everyone attending brings one side dish or dessert. No one brought anything. I had a feeling that's what it was going to be, as no one mentioned what they're bringing, so I prepared for it anyway. Just to also mention, I have never been thanked for hosting or cooking. Literally by no one. All leftovers get picked over and taken home. Last year I also had to cook the following day because there was nothing left to eat except some baked brie that my mill turned her nose up to, and I wanted to enjoy leftovers at least. This year I told my partner that I have no intention of cooking. If he wanted to host, he can cater. His reaction was, "But that's our tradition, can't you at least make some boxed stuffing or something, and everyone is planning on coming?" My reaction was, "Nope, that's your tradition. I will not make boxed stuffing, and, if they're planning on coming, you better put that catering order in." He has not spoken to me since. I also had to explain, and I shouldn't have to, that I haven't been feeling well. I finished an 8-month course of a pretty rough medication that dries out all the joints in your body. I've been achy and miserable and I feel stiff when I overwork myself. Am I the asshole for not wanting to entertain 20-plus people twice a year, every year? I have decided to possibly sit out Thanksgiving completely. Buy a pre-made single-serving Thanksgiving dinner at the local grocery store that just needs to be popped in the oven for a while and going to watch that new Lady Gaga movie. Edit. Guys, my partner found this post and sent me the link. Now apparently we're canceling everything because I'm venting to strangers on the internet. I guess he didn't like what he read. Oops. Not the asshole at all, and honestly, I hate to be that Reddit person, but I'd be having some conversations before I marry that person. If your fiancé is not considerate of what you need versus what he and his family wants, and also not pulling his weight now, will he as a partner when you're married? An important distinction is that you did not say, "We can't host a dinner." You said, "You need to be the one to do it this year if you want it because I'm tired," and he balked. Not the asshole. I bet they leave you to clean everything up too. Face with rolling eyes. Not the asshole at all. You have put so much work into a family gathering and never got any form of gratitude. Does your partner know the amount of work that goes into cooking such a big dinner? Do they know the reason why you want to stop? If the answer is yes to both those questions, your partner and their family gets the big YTA. Not the asshole, and catering is a perfectly valid and logistically easy compromise. Double not the asshole. 4 years running. Have some silver, and I hope you enjoy the fuck out of Lady Gaga and Adam Driver and eat a bunch of delicious food all for yourself. This sexist idea that women have to do 100% of the work is ridiculous and has to end. Say no, flat out no, and let your significant other figure it out for himself. And it's okay if he's upset. Let him be upset. Let him feel his feelings. Let him call the caterer, or not. Don't rescue him. He won't learn if you keep doing everything for him. Check out this article on weaponized incompetence. Not the asshole. ETA, are you sure you want to marry into this awful family? It's bizarre that nobody thanked you. Bizarre. And you requested that people bring a dish or dessert, and nobody did. What a bunch of weirdos. Dumb question. What on earth did they do for the holidays before you were in the picture? The petty side of me says that you should put out a mass text stating that you are cooking the turkey and only the turkey, and they will bring something to the table, because if they don't, turkey is all they will see. Not the asshole, and good luck with this smile. Can we please get an update on this after the holiday? I'm very emotionally invested in this. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend and his whole family are. Boyfriend needs to be doing more than just the brisket. He could prep and make side dishes. That family should be bringing dishes too. It's very time-consuming and expensive to cook for that many people. Don't marry until you take a long, hard look at this relationship. He isn't even concerned about your health. Get rid of him and his family tradition. Find a true helpmate who loves and respects you. Am I the asshole for getting a cashier in trouble because he didn't believe in February 29? Today after leaving work I needed to pick up some wine, so I made and stopped to a local grocery store to get 2 different bottles that he and some cleaning supplies, bleach and cat sand. I have a permanent baby face, so I'm always ready to give the ID. Usually there isn't a problem. The cashier just hands it back and I go in my merry way. I get to the register. It's morning so it's empty. I put my things when the cashier, Kevin, gives me a side eye and the following conversation ensues. K. Aren't you too young to be buying wine? Me. I get that a lot. I am 21. I hand my ID to Kevin. K. Good try, but this is fake. Me. Excuse me? K. This is a fake ID. You are not gonna fool me. And I bet the bleach is for you to get high. Me. Why would you think is fake? And how am I gonna get high with bleach? K. Because February just has 28 days and this says February 29th. I am not stupid. Me. What? K. Now get out before I call the security guard. Me. Excuse me, but February has 29 days every 4 years. And I need my ID back. K. No, I'm destroying this, now get out. Note that I have bad anxiety and confrontation makes me retreat, so I was completely ready to just go to another grocery store. Kevin jets out of his till to go find something to the staff room. Me. Excuse me, but I need my ID. I'm raising my voice at this point and following him. K. No, I'm gonna cut it now, go away, this is staff only. The grocery store is still pretty empty and he was the only cashier in the shift, pretty common where I live. I start to shut down when a woman in a different uniform that was there raised her voice from the other door to the staff room. W. What is happening here? Kevin, what are you doing? K. This kid is trying to buy alcohol and things to get high with a fake ID. Me. It's not fake. Please give it back. K. Get me some scissors so I can snap it. W. Kevin, February 29th is real, is a leap year. K. No, leap years are a myth from Greece before the church took over. They aren't real. The woman takes the ID from Kevin's hands and hands it back to me, who's almost in tears. W. I'm so sorry. I will have an stern talk with Kevin. Let me check you out. Me. I just nod and follow her back to my shopping. She gives me my groceries and I pay for them. W. Could you come with me to sign a paper stating what Kevin has done? Me. A. Sure. For what? W. Because no one believes me when he does these things and I need it in paper so I can get him reported. I just went and signed statement. I still don't understand why she needed one. I told what happened to my roommate and he told me I shouldn't have signed anything because now Kevin's gonna get fired for a very minor thing, and that the woman was probably just mad at him for something else and wanted to use this to get him out of the store, and that is my fault for having such a confusing birthdate? I don't know Reddit, I'm just tired. Am I the asshole? Update. First of all, thank you for the comments, you are all very nice. And to anyone who doesn't believe me, it's fair, it's very outlandish and I left some stuff out. Also my English isn't good at all. My partner came to see me after his shift ended and we talked about it. He chewed up my roommate for saying that to me and I'm now staying with him for a bit, until my anxiety gets better. In the discussion my boyfriend found out that Kevin is actually a friend of my roommate, or at least they know each other, and that's why he, roommate, was upset at me. I've seen people confused about who was crying, it was me. I have severe anxiety and issues with PTSD due to trauma. I don't really want to elaborate. I know I don't have an spine and I'm working on it, but it's not easy. The dialogue left some stuff out as it was translated from a completely different language and paraphrased. Kevin had been absolutely rambling about the 29 not being real, and the woman, people call her manager. I believe she was one now looking back, or at least superior to Kevin, came out of the same place Kevin was going into. No, the store wasn't completely empty, but there was no one at the registers. It's a Wednesday morning. No, not everyone clapped, and I paid for my groceries. If I learn what happened to Kevin I will put it here. Kevin is definitely older than me. He's an adult and it's not the famous Kevin, sadly. I live in Europe, so no chance. Much love to all the people who DM me, but I don't have the time to answer all. You are all amazing. Thanks to all the leap year babies for sharing their stories. It's fun to see more people like me. Love to all of you less than 3. Not the asshole. You don't have a confusing birth date and it wasn't a very minor thing. My roommate and he told me I shouldn't have signed anything because now Kevin's gonna get fired for a very minor thing. Man, who are these people who go through life with the spines of tubeworms? Kevin would have destroyed your ID and cost you a lot of time and money to get it replaced because of his arrogance. He deserved whatever consequences he got. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I don't think your roommate would have thought this was a very minor thing, if it had happened to him. Also. No, leap years are a myth from Greece before the church took over. WTH? That boy ain't right. Maybe he's the one getting high on bleach. Because no one believes me when he does this things and I need it in paper so I can get him reported. Clearly Kevin is an asshole on a regular basis and the only way to report him is by keeping a paper trail. You did nothing wrong and he behaved like an idiot. Not the asshole. NTA. If Kevin gets fired it will be entirely because of his actions and you do not need to feel in any way guilty about it. Not the asshole. If he gets fired it's because he's done many similar things, not just this. Big old not the asshole. Kevin sucks and deserves whatever the repercussions are for his insufferable actions. Grocery store worker on a power trip can't destroy someone's government ID. How the hell would you have gotten home if you were driving? He might not even get fired, but they need a record of his behavior if they are going to lawfully fire him, and it sounds like he would deserve it if he makes recurring bad decisions like this as indicated by his coworker. This seems very fake and I am confused as to why no one else thinks so. Am I the asshole for telling my parents I would not care for my obese brother? When my little brother Teddy was born, his umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. According to my mom, he wasn't breathing for at least 3 minutes. Since then my parents often used that as an excuse for Teddy's behavior. My childhood became a living hell with Teddy. Give Teddy your candy. He died coming into this world. Let him play with your friends. He died coming into this world. Let him open your presents. Teddy almost didn't have a birthday. I had to put up with Teddy's tantrums, abuse, fits and bad behavior. If I touched a single hair on his head, I got punished while Teddy got away with whatever he did. It became so bad that when I was 15, I moved out the house to live with family members away from Teddy. My contact with my parents and Teddy is limited. Currently I'm 35 and Teddy is 26. When he was 18, he decided he wanted to be a competitive eater, which turned into just eating. Teddy now weighs almost 600 pounds. 'Cause of his weight, he can't hold a job and lives with our parents who still cater to him and pay for everything. Since Teddy requires round-the-clock care, my parents hardly leave the house. They weren't present at my wedding, only see the grandkids if I bring them around, and all family events like dinners have to held at their house cause it's hard to move Teddy. A few days ago Teddy suffered a bad fall that put him in the hospital. My husband and I at least came to see him. My parents complained that the hospital wasn't feeding him enough, didn't have a wheelchair big enough for him, and naturally they didn't want to hear anything about his weight. It would be easier to turn water into gold. To make a long story short, my parents pulled my husband and I aside and asked a large amount of money for Teddy's care. They said that they didn't have money to keep caring for him and were having to dip into their retirement funds. They even suggested that once Teddy is cleared to go home, he move in with us cause my husband and I are well off with a bigger house, and so, we can get a break cause we have to care for him all year round while you just visit. I said no. My husband told them hell no. We both work full time. Our kids are enrolled in sports and dance. We made it clear that Teddy would not be moving in with us, nor would we be moving our schedule around to deal with him or giving them the money even though we could afford it. He's your brother. You almost didn't have a brother. We left the hospital. My mom later called me, berating me abandoning the family and Teddy and demanding money. I told her I would not care for Teddy under any circumstances. Even if something happened to her and my dad, I would not care for my brother, and he's her problem. Not mine. My mom cursed me out over the phone and hung up. I do feel a little bad cause Teddy is my brother, but he made my life hell and my parents refused to take any responsible for his behavior. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. He can't hold a job and lives with our parents who still cater to him and pay for everything. They enabled him to get to 600 pounds, close to his death. He's not much longer for this world. These are based on his decisions, which you are not responsible for. They need serious family therapy to see how their behavior is leading to the death of their son. They can't just help him get close to death then pawn the problem off on someone else. Not the asshole. I feel bad for you and Teddy. You were both failed by your parents. Not the asshole. What the fuck is wrong with your parents? Hard not the asshole. You parents have done your brother a great disservice and did not prepare him for the real world. There is no way you should take in your brother. I do feel bad for him, but this is not your burden. If your parents truly cannot care for your brother, he belongs in a care facility. You should not be paying to care for him. Not the asshole, and I feel so badly for your brother because they raised him to be like this. But at some point, he has to take responsibility. That responsibility, however, is not yours. Lol competitive eater who just turned into an eater. Of all the troll posts today, this one is the most TLC-ready show of them all. Not the asshole. Not your kid and he's a damn spoiled adult. Plus, you were abandoned by your parents first, you owe them nothing. Not the asshole, your parent enabled him. Hold your ground, your parents failed him. That's 100% on them for raising Teddy with no boundaries. Don't let them make you feel bad for anything. Stand your ground and go even more low contact if you need to. The most I would do is tell them to take Teddy to see a nutritionist and therapy for all of them. Am I the asshole for not knowing how to run the house like my wife did for almost 50 years? My wife and I are 68. I retired about 3 years ago, and my wife was a nurse who went back to work for a change of pace. So for the first time ever I'm out of work, and she's working. This has created a bit of an awkward dynamic since I have zero experience doing chores. We got married and moved in together when we were 18, and before that I lived with my mom. So I legitimately have never had to lift a finger at home till recently. My wife packed my lunch and kissed me goodbye for 47 years. She was a bit shocked to discover I won't be doing the same. She's had to teach me how to cook, since I had very little experience doing it, none actually. Now the only thing I can do well is clean. So that is not an issue. But everything else that she used to do I'm just not capable of. She's been less than understanding. I feel that we should maybe split the chores. We recently got into an argument because I haven't been able to do what she did for almost 50 years, which she's right, but like I said, I have no experience with any of this stuff. I didn't even want to retire since my dad and grandpa worked till the day they died, but she convinced me to. And now I'm stuck here. I'm doing my best. Edits. She got retrained before going back to work. I was not expected to help in any way before this. She was always a very meticulous housekeeper, and even now she didn't expect me to help. Up until I showed a willingness to help her take care of the house. To everyone saying she was working full-time and doing everything, she was a SAHW for a huge majority of our 50-year marriage, and 55-year relationship. I'd say she worked, outside the home, for about 7 years total in that time. She didn't outright ask me to help with chores at first. I just felt awkward sitting there all day and leaving messes. So I cleaned them, and now all of a sudden she expects me to attempt to play housewife. Honestly, it's not as easy as she made it look. She still cleans, cooks, grocery shops though when it's needed. In fact, I still haven't ever grocery shopped. I have a newfound respect for housewives. I always appreciated my wife, and was impressed by the way she juggles everything. But now that I'm on the other end, it isn't as easy as it seemed. If you ate a packed lunch for 47 years, plus all the years your mommy packed your lunch, how in the world could you not know how to pack a lunch? My goodness, just ask your wife to put together a list of what she'd like in her lunches and mix and match from that. My in-laws are in their 70s and had a very traditional marriage, but my Phil knew how to make dinner. Here you are on Reddit. If you can figure that out, you can find videos on YouTube to teach you how to cook dinner, do laundry, and even pack a lunch. You are the asshole. Edited to add. Your wife is upset because she took care of you and your family for 50 years, and you don't have one idea of how to do anything that she did. You never paid attention to what she did, you took her for granted. Start by apologizing. You are the asshole. One old guy to another. When you say you aren't capable of doing this stuff, like packing lunches, you know that you're omitting the yet. Here's the thing. I understand that you have no experience with household chores. Whether or not it's your fault can be set aside. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? When you were 18 and new at your job, what did you do? Did you learn? Did you adapt? Did you research by yourself, be a self-starter? Took initiative? If the answer to any of these is yes, then YTA. Because you are using the fact that you have no experience as an excuse. The only way to get experience is to literally do the thing. And anyways, your wife shouldn't have been doing everything by herself whether or not you were working, but life isn't always fair. In this case I would say it's 1000% fair. Sorry. This can't be real. You are the asshole. Your wife did all of the household work for the entire time you were married, while also working. I'm sure you can manage to learn the things your wife had to learn when you got married at 18. You can Google what you need to learn. You shouldn't need your wife to teach you while she's working outside the home as well. You are the asshole. I'm just not capable, yet, I'm doing my best. Fair enough to say you'll never be as good a cook as someone who had a whole life of practice, but certainly you can get to the same level as, I don't know, a child or maybe even a teenager. Look up the term, weaponized incompetence, or maybe ask your wife to look it up for you. You are the asshole. Learn by doing. Unless you've completely ignored your wife's actions for the last 50 years. Then you know what she did because you watched her doing it. Housework is labor-intensive, but it's not hard to figure it out. I'm sure you are an intelligent man. Presumably your wife was also working while doing all those things for the last 50 years. You can't go back to nursing on a whim if you haven't been doing it for years. I feel that we should maybe split the chores. You already said you did 0 chores when you were working and she was at home. Why would you split the chores now that the roles have reversed? You are the asshole.